I was going to ask you about this a little bit later, but in bringing up the question of humanity, it reminds me of the essay that you wrote in the part of the book that deals with this question that was posed to, I believe it was W.B. Du Bois,
Du Bois. Hmm.
about do Black people cry? Do they shed tears? And your assessment of that question was really that the person was asking, are Black people human? I mean, can you talk a little bit about that essay? I mean, it's incredibly
Yes.
moving and distressing.
Yes, well, in the early part of the 1900s, 1905, a researcher named Alvin Borquist wrote to W.E.B. Du Bois, at the time a PhD, a professor at Atlanta University, someone known for doing his research on Black people, and wrote very, very seriously, asking the question, "Does the Negro shed tears?" And very clinically wanted to know if they do, for what reason, in what circumstances. But he didn't believe that Black people could cry. And, Du Bois answers back. I mean, first he very dryly says, the Negro sheds tears, and then went on from there. But I move in the chapter to images of Black men in particular, and back to a thread of your great question about Black girls and about gender.
Mhm.
I think that, as we think about Black men and Black boys in particular, and the way in which the space of expressivity is sometimes something that is tamped down in our boys, when they're told to be a man and to keep your chin up, and be the man of the house, little man. Boys don't cry. All of this kind of stuff. Um, we have a lot to cry about. Those feelings, those emotions, and I talk about all the people on the stand, the Black men at Derek Chauvin's trial, the police officer who murdered George Floyd, the neighborhood elder, Philonise Williams, weeping, George Floyd's brother, weeping, George Floyd himself, weeping as his life was taken from him. Uh, it goes without saying, but the point is the waters of our bodies, the involuntary reaction of crying or laughing, this is what human beings do. When we come onto this earth, how do we know everything is okay? We wait for the human baby to cry. So I thought that was something worth bringing forward.
Yeah, and just in talking about the gender issue as well, I mean, it continues on with the trope of the strong Black woman and
Yes.
her invulnerability and her strength in the face of oppression.
Well, and to that, you mentioned that, and so of course I have to say right now to invoke the extraordinary Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, and just saying all my positive things right now. But what I thought was so extraordinary, I mean, she was treated with such profound disrespect, rhetorical violence, gender-based racism. I mean, it was really quite a display. But what I thought was so powerful is that the strong Black woman, like, right, we're not supposed to cry at work, right? um, and I was so moved and so glad that a tear fell when Senator Cory Booker lifted her up, shined a light on her accomplishments, asked the questions that were appropriate in this moment, and talked about how no one would steal the pride and the joy of this moment. That brought a tear to her eyes. And I was so happy to see that tear because I think that, perhaps the final frontier of our freedom is, can we be fully expressive human beings, wherever we may be, and not have that evoke all other people's stereotypes.